Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Digesting Life. I'm your host, Maya Nicole, and today I'm going to be talking about a lot of different topics like social media and, comparing yourself to others and how to not really do that. Especially because now I'm in my post grad era and I've been in it for a couple of months. And in the very beginning, it was really hard not to get FOMO. And, when all the college students go on spring break, I felt really left out and felt like I was missing out on that semester, especially because I graduated a semester early. So I felt a little regretful in the very beginning because I was like, "Man, like, I should have just waited to graduate and graduated on time like I should have." And, I just felt like I rushed my time out of there very quickly. But then I have to remember I had so much fun in the 3.5 years that I was in college, and that I have so much more fun in life left to go. And just because I'm not in college anymore doesn't change anything. So, with that being said, let's just get right into it. So, with the topic about social media, there is so much I could dive into about it, but I'm really at a loss with how I feel about social media because, there's a lot of bad sides to it, but also there are so many good sides to it. And also, I've only grown up in the era of like social media and technology and stuff. So, it's like I don't really know what life is like without it. And a lot of people my age don't as well. So, I would say I really do love social media in the way that it can inform me on things, and a lot of, like, especially with the digestive health issues, like, a lot of the information that I got was from social media and especially TikTok, because a lot of people were sharing their stories about, like, the random, like, stomach pain and all this stuff, and I was like, "That could be me," like, maybe that's just what's happening with me, you know? And everybody shares their experiences online, and I find that wonderful because if we didn't have platforms to share our experiences, I feel like we really wouldn't get to the bottom of health issues and a bunch of other issues in the world, you know? So, I really do love social media in that way, but I I do feel that social media makes it very hard not to compare yourself to others, and that is something that I have, like, fallen guilty to for pretty much all of my life, and now I'm getting a lot better at it, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But I have felt like throughout my 21 years of living, um, it's really hard not to sit there and compare yourself to others who, their Instagram feeds look like they're having the best life 24/7, which they're not. Like, nobody is. And, like, the richest people on earth aren't having the best time in the world, But you'll never see that. And I think that's my problem with influencers and influencing and everything like that nowadays is I feel like, if you're going to be an influencer, you should also talk about the hardships and the things that you're going through that we don't see when you're on vacation every other week, you know? And I don't know, I feel like, younger influencers, like people who are, maybe in college or like starting out, very young, they get that and they're trying to kind of change their narrative about influencers, to make it in a way that like, yeah, I'm showing the good stuff because life can be really good, but also like there are bad moments and there are things that people go through every single day, and it's completely normal to go through and see that. But I will say, if everyone were posting their bad moments online, then it would kinda be weird, And I feel like sometimes people have more bad days than good days sometimes. So if people were posting that more, um, I it would just be an interesting scene, and maybe kind of depressing. And in a way, TikTok can be like that, especially because you get a feed based off of what you watch more frequently. And I've noticed, like, on the days where I feel super happy, I get like a flood of happy videos, and then I feel good, But then it's like TikTok always knows when I'm not in a good mood and when I'm having a little bit of a harder day, because my TikTok will be, like, flooded with all these sad videos and sad movies and, like, sick puppies, and I'm like, "Dude, what is going on here?" Because then, like, I, like, feed into it, and then I just feel worse, you know? So it's a very odd dynamic. And, because of algorithms and such, it's whatever you're watching, that's what your feed's going to be. So it's really difficult to navigate because it's like, you know, social media is it's just difficult because there's no perfect way about it. But I have noticed, like, with people my age, like, everyone's posting just, like, model, like, pictures and photo shoots all the time and all this stuff, like, all these fun trips. And, it's because they're not graduated from college, or, like, maybe they're doing other stuff in life. But, you know, when you're working a 9 to 5, I work a 9 to 6, because we get an hour-long lunch break. But, like, that is 40 hours a week. You are out of commission to do anything fun like that, unless your job is, like, traveling and influencing and stuff like that. But my job isn't. And, I'm in an office or at my desk at home 40 hours a week. So I'm not traveling. I don't have time to take all these fun pictures like I did back in college. And when I was in college, like, I had so many more pictures in my camera roll. And nowadays, like, I have, like, a few pictures per month just because I'm not doing anything different. And, on the weekends, I try and make it as fun as possible. But sometimes, like, I just need a weekend to, like, lay in bed and rot and then, like, clean on the Sunday, and which is totally normal and it's totally fine. But I don't know, it's just I haven't completely figured out how I feel about social media yet. But I do find that, like, it's so hard not to compare yourself to people all the time. And so what helped me with that was getting a job, like, out of college. Because I will say, when I did have that, I think I mentioned in my last episode that I had a month-long, break from graduating college and getting a new job. And I did not work at all. I didn't do any schoolwork, no learning, no nothing. Like, I took that time for me to get back into the gym, to, figure out stuff with my stomach health issues and stuff like that. And, like, that month was for me to do whatever I wanted, whether it was rot in bed all day, or, like, go, like, see my friends or my boyfriend, or, like, travel or do whatever. Like, I wanted to do whatever I wanted to do that month. And so what I noticed was, when I had that month, I was on social media more than I had been during college, and more than I am now. And that's because, like I said, I had no pressures. I had nothing crazy to do. Like, I could do whatever I wanted. So I spent time on social media, and then it would just kind of make me sad. And, seeing everybody go back to school, I was like, that could have been me had I not graduated early. And don't get me wrong, I worked really hard to do that. But it still sucks because a lot of my friends are still there, and I do miss, like, partying with them and hanging out with them. Although towards the end, I also did mention this in my last episode, but I didn't do much partying because I was so stressed. But maybe I would have had I had extra time. So now that I have a 40-hour work week every single week, I'm hardly on my phone. I'm hardly talking to people on my phone. I'm hardly looking through any social media. And, like, how you can go through your phone and see your hours and how much screen time you have, like, throughout the week and throughout your days. I have about 1 hour of screen time a day. And, like, if that, some days I'm so tired, like, cause it's not me just going to work and then going to bed. Like, I go to work, I have dinner with my family almost every single night. I go to the gym, and some nights I work out with my friend, sometimes I work out with my mom, and sometimes I'm seeing a trainer now, so sometimes I'm working out with him. So I try to do that at least 3 to 4 times a week. Sometimes it can't happen, but when I can make it happen, I do. So it's not like I'm just working and doing nothing for the rest of the night. I have other stuff to do, and I also have been meal prepping some more, like, protein meals and stuff. And that takes time. And so sometimes I have, like, 30 minutes of screen time, and then at night, I like to FaceTime or call my boyfriend, just to talk about our day, and so I'm barely on my phone anymore, and I've noticed a drastic shift, and I know, like, everybody says this, and it's so cliche, but it's like, really limiting your time on the phone helps so much, and it just it opens yourself up to more real life activity rather than just, like, living in your phone, and, like, I know some people, when they're walking on the treadmill or something, they'll watch a TV show or anything, and, like, that's fine, but I also try not to do that. I try to just listen to music or, like, a podcast, or sometimes, like, I'll listen back to my podcast if I need to, but it's really helped, and I've really taken the time to just, like, live real life, and I've been noticeably in a better mood, and, like, it's helped so much. So I feel like limiting social media, although it's so cliche to say that, like, really does help, and, before I got my job, I was reading a lot, so, like, I also wasn't on social media too much during then, but I haven't really had the time to be reading, but if I got back into that, that would also help. I think I'd have, like, 20 minutes a day of social media. Also, going back to what I was talking about with influencers a minute ago, um, I do feel like, the influencer life and the normal average 40-hour work week, like, person life is completely different because I've seen a lot of stuff, and I've seen a lot of influencers be called out for it, but, they'll be like, "Oh, I had such a busy day today," or "I had such a busy week," and then they tell you about their day or their week, and it's like they had to have a hair appointment, and they had to go do a photo shoot, and they had to do this makeup try-on for, like, Maybelline, and, like, it's like all this stuff, like, I wish, like, and they always say, like, "You try being an influencer for a day." Oh my god, sign me up. I would love to. Like, there are so many brands I would love to collab with, especially, like, the gut health ones like Poppy and Olipop and, like, all that stuff, like, that is my dream, and these people get Poppy and Olipop and makeup and everything, like, clothes sent to their house, like, in PR packages, and some people don't even open them, and I'm like, "Girl, let me be an influencer for a day." Like, I would soak that up because I genuinely, like, that would be so fun, but that's not the case. So, it's like a normal person, like, their day, if they walk you through it, like, "Oh, I just worked for 8 hours." Like, if I walked you through my last week, like, I worked overtime last week, I was exhausted, like, I was so tired, and then I had to go do the gym, and then I had to meal prep and, like, do laundry and, take care of the dog, and it's like, you have to do real people stuff, But these influencers don't, and I feel like they're kind of out of touch with that reality, so, I don't know, that's something I wanted to bring up. And the only reason I'm bringing that up is because then you sit there and compare yourself even more because you're like, had I not just taken like, I've sat here and been like, had I not just taken content creation and TikToking back during quarantine seriously, maybe I would be like, you know, famous on TikTok or something. But I didn't because it just wasn't, in my vision at the moment. And like it wasn't at the forefront of my mind. So, I never took that seriously, and I'm only doing podcasting just for myself to sit here and look forward to doing something because 'cause I've always wanted to make a podcast, so I'm not expecting anything from it, I just wanna sit here and, like, do what I enjoy, and, you know but I do think that, like, it's hard not to compare and be like, "Well, I could have been an influencer if I just took it seriously a few years ago when I had the time," and at the end of the day, that's not important. Like, y I'm living my life the way that I want to, and whatever happens, happens. But that is something that I really had to burn into my brain was like, it does not matter. Like, these influencers, they're influencers, and I am me. I am doing what I am doing, and I graduated college, and I did all this stuff, and I have a job, and I'm successful in my own way? So I think that's a good way of looking at it. Is like we're all successful in our own ways and that is so important to our mental health and well-being because, if you just spend all your time dwelling on what other people are doing, there is no use. You're living your life so poorly if you do that. Also, going back on TikTok, I will say, like, during quarantine, like, everyone was posting these, like, really fun videos and, uh, lip syncing videos and all this stuff, and, there were all these TikTok challenges back in 2020, like, when we all had nothing to do but post stuff, and now I've noticed that, people are going back and looking at those videos and, cringing at them, and they're like, "Oh my god," why did we do that? Like that, ugh, And there are some things that even I still look back at and I'm like, but that was fun. I remember I even made some of those silly videos back during quarantine. And I just remember I had not a care in the world. I knew that I wasn't about to see because COVID happened during my senior year of high school. So then our half a year got cut short. I knew that I was never about to see half of these people again, so I just didn't really care, and I had such a blast, posting all these silly TikToks. Some of my TikToks even got big and, a few million views, but, it was so stupid, I have a video of me, pretending to be in a club and some dude coming up to my friend being like, "Let me get her a drink or something," and I'm like, "No." And then he's like, "It's okay, let me see her drink." And I just pull out a taser and go, "Brrr." Like, how stupid is that? And that got, 2 million views. Like and now nobody's posting videos stupid stuff like that anymore, and I feel like ever since we got over, COVID a little bit, once we got through it, now nobody's posting fun stuff like that anymore, and some people still are. But, those lip syncing videos and, all the fun little challenges, they're just not here anymore, and now they're, deemed cringy. So, it's I feel like social media really did change after COVID, and now it's, kinda you have to put on your best show. And I will say though, especially on my Instagram is public, but I try to make it appropriate because well, I mean, I have nothing inappropriate obviously, but it's I keep it appropriate because I know that, employers view that and when I was applying for jobs and everything, I was like I want to look my best so that nobody's judging me and not giving me a job because of what I post. So, I try to be smart with what I post on everything. Um, but yeah. And one of the last things I'm going to talk about is pretty much whenever you post anything, anybody can see it, especially on TikTok and whatever you're posting on. And I'm aware that everybody can see what I'm posting on my TikTok and my Instagram, especially because I purposefully make them public. But um especially making a podcast, I am putting myself out there and talking about my life and everything, and, um, I will say, that is putting myself out there more than I've ever intended to, but it's I'm leaving myself open for judgment, which is totally fine, but social media is a huge place of judgment, and that makes it really hard not to compare yourself and fall down a really big hole of negativity, and it's hard because there's always silent, little ghost bullies on the internet, and they hide behind a screen. So, that's the worst part. And I haven't gotten anything bad ever since making the podcast, but I mean, I'm just bringing it up because it's a part of social media, you know? So, you know, whatever you do, there's always going to be judgment behind it, whether or not it's on social media, but don't let the negativity get to you. And the last thing I wanna talk about is, you only have your life to live. Do not waste your time living it in fear of judgment and, in fear of, FOMO and everything, don't let yourself fall victim to all of that. I used to compare myself so much, and sometimes I still do, I'm only human, but I've really, really taken the time to limit myself from social media and negativity because, even off of social media, I can't do negative people. So I limit myself completely from it. And it has helped me so much. And it just, your life is your life. And if you spend it miserable, it's it's not gonna be fun. So, do whatever you have to do to make it make it as good as it can be. If you're one of those people that is looking at social media and looking at your friends' posts and they've gone on like 5 vacations this year, but you've only gone on 1, do little things that make you happy. Like, go to a coffee shop if that makes you happy. Have a freaking picnic. Like, that sounds so fun. Or go to the lake nearby. Like, do little stuff within your area, you know? And, like, just because it's vacation doesn't mean it's this huge big thing. Like, of course, it's somewhere you've never seen before and there's, like, beaches or wherever, but it's like you only make that fun because you're making it fun. I've been on vacations that have sucked, and they're at a beach, and I love the beach, you know? So, it's like, whatever you make of your life is what it will be. So, make it as positive as you can be. Don't fall victim to judgment, and, don't let yourself compare yourself to others because it's just not worth it. That's pretty much everything I had to talk about on this episode, but I really hope you guys enjoyed it and tune in to the next episode of Digesting Life. Bye.